Good morning, everybody. Keith here. Hey, wanted to talk to everybody today about the 10th Amendment in support of your traveling. And basically, what I want to do is, let me get to my thing here. In regards to the 10th Amendment, in where it states that the power is not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states, respectively, or the people. And basically, there's two words in here that I want to talk about. First one is the second word in this sentence in the 10th Amendment, which is powers. And the powers that are delegated either to the state or the United States are merely privileges. Powers that a man has inherently that are not delegated are already there. So this constitutional phrase here cannot affect your inherent rights. And that's the power of each man, of the people. So the powers of the state or the United States are privileges. The powers of the people are rights. Rights have superiority over privileges, period. No matter what, no matter how you want to look at it, rights are superior to privileges. Privileges are granted. Rights are inherent. So the second word I want to look at in this constitutional phrase is the word or. Two little letters, or, O-R, in respect to the where the powers are reserved to the states respectively, or the people. So when we look at this constitutional amendment that speaks about the powers, we're talking about the powers of the states to grant privileges to drive for commercial purposes on the public roadways which belong to the people. So if the public roadways belong to the people and they have a right to travel upon them, that is your power. And the only way you're going to be able to address that in any way is to stand up for it. If you keep acquiescing to this driving bullshit, then you're going to acquiesce to the privileges that they grant you and not accept the rights that are already there within you. When we speak of traveling, we speak of things like moving from point A to point B as you so wish, according to the conveyances that you wish to use. There's another good word, use. When we talk about privileges, does the state have a privilege to use a motor vehicle? No, the state can't use motor vehicles. Only people can. So there again, it comes down to the point of the usury of whether that person is using it as defined. So if the state's defining it as commercial purposes and you're not using it for commercial purposes, then how is it their supposed privilege that they granted you through a license supersedes your right to travel? It doesn't. Even if you have a license to drive, understand something. That license to drive isn't in effect 24 hours a day. So if the cops come knocking on your door and want to give you a traffic citation for not stopping at a stop sign, how does that make sense? It doesn't, because you're in your private capacity. You're moving from point A to point B when you answer that door. That's your right to travel in its basic sense. So when we're talking about these traffic citations, and remember, traffic is another one of those words that is denoted as a commercial activity. You're trafficking. That's what the RICO is all about. They're trafficking. They're trafficking humans. It's called human trafficking for commercial purposes, for profit. And the commercial purposes all rounds down to the use of Federal Reserve notes. When you're bartering, trading, and not using Federal Reserve notes, and you're just trading one unit for another unit, a product for another product, a product for a service, then there is no commerce, because you're not using Federal Reserve notes. You're not doing it for personal gain. You're not using it for a profit. You're using it to be fairly compensated for what you're giving up in exchange for what you're receiving. And that's what it all boils down to. Your 10th Amendment, I haven't tried this yet. I can't say that it's it's perfect, but in my opinion, the 10th Amendment is one of the perfect things to use in regards to your travel rights, in explaining to them that their privileges that they grant through licensing is strictly for commerce, as denoted in their own codes and statutes and rules and regulations, acts and edicts and ordinances, principles, proclamations, declarations, whatever they want to call it. It's still just a privilege. So remember, when you're teaching your kids about driving, or when the schools are teaching your kids about driving, to teach them the obverse, which is to travel. Teach them about the powers and the differences between the two. And that's clearly defined in the 10th Amendment as far as I read it. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor, let's see here, nor prohibited to it or by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people. So we have to understand the difference between state, United States, and people. And remember, people, the state and the United States are in effect the same. When you look up the definition of state, you see it's basically using the powers, or the law of principle. When you use that law of principle on your affidavit, it says notice of principle is notice to agent, notice to agent is notice to principle. They're all part of the same corporation. There's a mother corporation, and then you have fundamentally different corporations, and then below each of those different corporations you've got fundamentally different corporations, but they're all acting together as one corporation. And that's basically what it is. The Federal Reserve, IMF, IRS, pure and simple. And they're all contracting with the United States, or the United States is contracting with them. Then each state is contracting with the United States. Then each county of each state is contracting with the state. And then each city within each county is contracting with the county. It's how it all breaks down. And that's where it stops, because the people aren't contracting with the city unless it's a written declaration. And no city that I know of has any written declaration. No county that I know of has a written declaration. No state that I know of has a written declaration. No country that I know of has a written declaration that binds the people to the state. Period. I know of none. The closest thing I can come up with is some kind of oath of allegiance, which most don't seem to follow. So anyway, that's about all I've got for right now. I just wanted to let you know that your 10th Amendment is a very powerful amendment. And then, of course, along with your 9th Amendment, your 14th Amendment, 4th and 5th Amendments. Those are all very powerful when it comes to privacy and the separations of powers. So think about this stuff and get it down pat, start using it. It's all in the words. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved respectively to the states or the people. That one little word, or, is a complete and total separation, and tells you that their powers are different than that of the people. Understand this and use it wisely. If it weren't for you guys, I wouldn't be here. God bless. Love you. Have a great day.